we've got contrast and brightness, and the two could be balanced, but they're not the same.
Right. So brightness is brightness. You know, it's whether the lights are on, how much light something emits.
So wait, if we wanted to increase in the brightness in this video right now, what would it look like?
Well, we'll do that in...
Wow! Oh my goodness! That's unbelievable! It's like I'm on fire!
You're probably also very washed out.
Yeah,
More so than you usually are.
Okay, this is a bit too bright. Can we go back? Can we go back to it? Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so that was adjusting brightness. So what about contrast?
Contrast is the ratio of the brightest spot to the darkest spot.
Okay.
So it's the space in between. You know, it's the contrast is literally how dark to how light something is.
So if we wanted to show like extreme contrast, what would that? Oh my God! This is getting creepy, Brandon. I don't know. This is really starting to freak me out. Well, why does the video look like this right now?
Well, having too much contrast is a bad thing because the blacks get crushed and the whites get what's called crushed, and so we all get blended together, and you get to the spot where there is no middle ground.
Right.
You end up with here's black, here's white, and there's no shading in between.
Okay, so can we set the video back? Thanks, I appreciate it. And we're back to normal here. So then, how could brightness and contrast be adjusted accordingly so they look good as you adjust them together? And when do you want to do that?
So on a television, you've got to adjust both the brightness.
My screensaver crashed.
That's awesome. You've got to adjust both the brightness and the contrast. In a very dark room, you can have more contrast because you don't hit the limits of what the television can do in terms of how bright it needs to go.
Television or screen
or any display.
Right.
When you're in broad daylight, you have to have more brightness so that you can actually see the things. So then you end up crushing some of the blacks. So in every given room, you have to adjust the brightness and the contrast, and for every display, you have to set the brightness and contrast independently. And if you set the brightness too high, you crush the whites, and if you set the brightness too low, you crush the blacks, and you use the contrast to kind of get it so that you've got a nice middle ground.